Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings. Hey friends, welcome to the podcast. It's Paul, your host, and today I am in the studio looking around, seeing if there's any cobwebs around. Nope, nothing. Cleaned real well today. I'm going to talk a little bit about cobwebs. I know this should be a Halloween episode, but I had so many ideas for Halloween, and I want to do the haunted forest. So I've kind of pushed this one aside. But it's that time of year where we're spending more time inside, unfortunately, if you live in the Northeast and it's cold and you have a lot of rainy days and a lot of snowy days. And yeah, this is the time of year where a lot of us start to at least semi-hibernate. I always try to tell everybody, don't hibernate. We're not a hibernating species, so get outdoors even in the winter. But yeah, even I do spend a little more time indoors this time of year. And this is the time when I start doing work out in my workshop in the garage, and sometimes I'm down in the basement doing work down there. My wife has her pottery studio, and you start seeing some of the big spiders around your house. Yeah, they don't want to be out in this cold weather either, so they're starting to hang out in places like our basements and our garage, and sometimes in the house still. Doesn't mean you have a dirty house, okay? I don't have a dirty house. My wife and I are clean freaks. Yeah, we clean it all the time. So we keep our house nice and clean, but hey, the cobs show up. The cobwebs show up. What are cobwebs? You know, I often wondered that. I remember when I was a kid and first time I started hearing the word cobweb and I saw these cobwebs around, I thought, okay, what's a cob? You know, corn on the cob? I don't know. How does a cob make a web? It must be some sort of spider. Well, I did a little research for those of you who are curious about where the name cobweb came from. And, well, first of all, web, okay, W-E-B, comes from Old English, web, W-E-B-B, web, meaning woven fabric. So the word web actually means woven fabric. Hey, you look at a cobweb, yeah, it kind of looks like it's woven. Okay, nice pattern in it. Now, Old English, spidra, S-P-I-D-R-A, that became spider. So now we have spidra, web. So that's where spiderweb came from Old English. Now another name for these eight-legged arachnids, yeah, the spiders are arachnids, is Attercop. A-T-O-R-C-O-P-P-E, Attercop, or Attercop. Now, atter means poison or venom. Cop means top or summit or head. So Attercop basically means poison head. That sounds weird, but yeah, poison head. So, Attercop, another name for spider. Okay, they were known as the poison head. For the J.R.R. Tolkien fans, okay, The Hobbit. I don't know if you remember when the dwarves were captured by the giant spiders, and Bilbo Baggins comes in to lure away all those spiders. How did he lure them away? Okay, where's the Tolkien fans? You're probably screaming at the podcast right now. It's like, I know. Okay, well, he sang a song. Yeah, Bilbo Baggins started singing a song about the Attercop. So don't worry, I won't sing it. I'm not a great singer, so I won't put you through that. I'll probably lose all my listeners if I do. So anyhow, if you recall that song, look it up. I'm sure you can find a YouTube video with that song. But you can find the words for it, and Attercop is in there. So, Old English. So, who put the cob in cobweb? Now we know where spiderweb came from. Well, over time, Attercop was shortened to just cop. They spun cobwebs, not spiderwebs. Remember, the other name was Attercop for spiders. And when they shortened it to cop, they were known as cobwebs. So the cobweb stuck around until about the 16th century. That's when it became the spider web. And it was still spelled with a double B at the end. Now, more accurately, it should be headweb, since cop means head. But no, it ended up becoming spiderweb. So that's where these names came from. And cop, C-O-P-P-E, cobweb, well, that eventually became cobweb. So that's where the name cobweb came from. So does that mean that they are spun by spiders? Well, actually, they are. Some actually say a spiderweb is being used by a spider, but a cobweb is usually an abandoned spiderweb, and it's collecting dust. Now, the dust forms on the spider web, making it look more disorganized, and that's where we get the dangling cobwebs, because that dust gets weight on them and they end up breaking. And yeah, so that's why these things in the corner of our house, when we don't dust often enough, or in our basement when we hardly ever dust down there, I'll admit it, we never dust our basement. Well, I shouldn't say never, but it's like you have these disorganized spiderweb looking things that are filled with dust and they're hanging down, and basically, that's a cobweb. It's a spider web that's been abandoned. Now, both the cobweb and the spiderweb then are created by spiders. It's just one is abandoned and old. Now, some scientists will go further and say that the cobweb is created by the spiders in the family Theridiidae. The Theridiidae family is actually the house spider. Okay, so now I'm going to get a little more, or I should say a little less technical. A house spider is just a generic term. Okay, some people call any spider that's in the house a house spider, but there actually is a common house spider. But the term house spider has been used for many species of spiders, including the wolf spider, which are the big ones we usually see hanging around this time of year, usually in the fall and winter. Yeah, because they're coming in the house and they had all summer long to eat up and get big and scare the daylights out of us, but they're actually very harmless to us, so don't be worried about it. I'll get to that later. So wolf spiders, harvestmen, jumping spiders, funnel weavers, the black widow, and the brown recluse, they have all been called the house spider. And of course, the common house spider. Or some people will even call it the American house spider. So the common house spider, and here I go trying to speak Latin. You know me with the Latin names, so we'll try to do this without massacring it. Achiorania tepidorium. Okay, I'm not going to repeat it. Look it up. Okay, it's typically brown or gray in color. It's got somewhat mottled appearance to it. So hard without pictures to describe something, but like I said, brown, gray. They're not very big. About 5 to 10 millimeters is the full body length. They do have very long legs, though, at least relative to their body size. Their webs are not like these really nice webs that we see most spiders building. I always love to watch the high-speed videos of a spider making a web. They're so intricate, so precise. Yeah, and they've got this beautiful design to it. Well, not the common house spider. No, the common house spider does a real irregular, almost messy spider web. And these webs are usually in dark places like corners, in basements, garages, behind furniture, where you usually don't move the furniture. So when the couch is against the wall, how many times you pull it away and dust back there? Not very often. Doesn't get the usual weekly house cleaning or bi-weekly or however often you clean your house. But so places like that, in closets, that are undisturbed dark places, that's where they usually like to build their webs. Why do they build them there? They don't want to be bothered. So they usually found in dark corners. And like I said, really messy looking. They're real irregular. Those are officially cobwebs, at least by most people's terms. But any of these spider webs that are old and starting to collect a lot of dust can be considered a spider web. But it's the real irregular ones that the house spider, the common house spider, actually creates. Those are true spider webs. So what's their habitat? Now, I already told you where they like to build in your house, and that is one of their favorite habitats is in houses. But you will also find them in barns and sheds, any undisturbed place. Attics, basements, behind furniture. They want the shelter from predators. And they're great places to provide food. Yeah, these are places where the insects aren't bothered much either. So you'll find like house centipedes, you'll find small gnats, you'll find other critters, small insects that are in these dark, undisturbed places. That's where you're going to find the common house spider because they have plenty of food and they're not bothered by humans. Not until we discover that there's a cobweb in the basement or the attic and we get out the dusting rag. So what are these guys feeding on? I just said they like to be in these places because it provides lots of food there. Well, mostly insects, flies, moths, your arthropods. They get caught in this messy web, and the house spider will sense the vibrations in the web, and they go after it. And because of the things they eat, they're actually beneficial to humans because they're keeping these pests out of our house. So, yeah, we probably shouldn't be bothering them then. I mean, they don't want to be bothered by us. That's why they build in these places that are shelter from humans. Now, the lifespan of these common house spiders can be anywhere from a few months to over a year. It all depends on the environmental factors. In other words, how many people are going around with that broom or that dustpan or spraying the pesticides around their house to get rid of the spiders. Or is there enough food for them? So all of this depends. If the conditions aren't right, then they're only going to live a few months. If they are right conditions, then they'll live over a year. Now the female, when they lay their eggs, it's usually, and you probably know this about spiders, several hundred eggs in a single egg sac. That is a lot of eggs that they are laying. A lot of babies hatching too. Not all of them make it. I mean, when they're that small, they are actually prey to other animals, other insects. So they got to be careful when they're that small, which is probably why the parents why the mothers lay that many eggs in one egg sac. Now, the average house, and I probably shouldn't tell you this fact, but I'm going to anyhow. The average house can have from a couple dozen to a couple hundred spiders, depending on certain factors, like is there good conditions for it, how often you clean your house, how often you dust in places that a lot of people don't dust, like behind furniture in your basement and your attic. That all depends on, those conditions. If you are a constant cleaner, constant duster, even in places where normally people don't dust and clean as well, you're probably not going to have as many. Also depends on how much food, how many insects are in the house, how many, small insects that you don't want in your house anyhow are in there, because you can't keep them all out. So all of those things will depend on how long they live and how many you have in your house. So, but on average, a couple dozen to a couple hundred spiders. Now, I did say that they are fairly harmless to humans. I have finally convinced over the many years I've convinced my wife not to kill a spider every time she sees it. Instead, I bought her a spider catcher. It's a really neat little thing. It has a little handle on it, and you just squeeze the handle, you put it over the spider, and you let go, and it closes up as these little plastic, soft, like fiber teeth on it, and it closes around the spider so the spider can't get out, but it doesn't harm the spider. And then we take it outside and release it out there. Which, by the way, I have learned, you're killing it anyhow. Yeah, you're killing it anyhow, because usually it's in the winter time when they're coming into our houses because they want to be inside where it's warm and they can find food. So if you put it outside in the winter, you just seal its demise. You might as well have just squashed it with your shoe. But I don't recommend that either. Remember, they are beneficial to us. But if you really don't want them in your house, well, there are things you can do to keep them out. You can get your spider catcher. You can catch them. What I do when I catch them in the winter, I take them out into my garage. I don't spend a lot of time in the garage. It is a little cooler, but they'll find some food out there because I'm sure there's some insects that can handle the semi-cold temperatures over the really cold of the outdoors. But that's what I do. Hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this because she thinks I take them all outside. But really, you don't need to evict them. I mean, like I said, fairly harmless to people. Some of the spiders, if you do have a brown recluse in your house, yeah, they are deadly. But usually you don't see them. You don't find them. They try to leave you alone if you leave them alone. If you live down south, you might have black widow. So there are some spiders that are harmless, but most house spiders, like the common house spider, harmless to human. Oh, and they do not get in through the plumbing. I don't know how many times I have heard, oh yeah, they're coming in through the toilet, through the sink, through the drain in the sink. It's like, no, they don't. Yeah, they have no way of getting through the water in the drain. They have no way of getting through the plumbing. You have filters on your sink faucet, your shower faucet. They cannot get through that. And yes, everyone thinks they're coming up through the drains. No, they aren't. If you've ever seen how a drain is put together, okay, you don't want the fumes from your septic tank or from the sewer coming into that drain. So there's a little loop that holds water in there. They can't swim through there, so don't worry. Spiders are not getting through the plumbing. It's the old wives' tale. And we believe it because I'm sure you've probably seen it in some horror movie somewhere. But anyhow, in some places, some cultures actually believe that spiders are a sign of good luck. And some cultures believe it's a sign that money is headed your way. So if you kill a spider in those cultures, it's actually considered bad luck. But if you're still determined to evict all spiders from your house, do it humanely. Like I said, don't put them outside. It's going to harm them. So what can you do? You can deter the spiders from coming into your living spaces. How do you do that? You can use essential oils, peppermint, lavender, tea tree oil, eucalyptus. All of these things will deter spiders. What my wife does is she has a little bottle filled with vinegar and water solution So she mixes vinegar and water, and she'll spray it around the baseboards in every room after she cleans, especially in the wintertime when the big spiders are hanging around in the house. Vinegar and water will deter them as well. You can also put some plants around your house. Peppermint, lemon balm. Those are two plants that have been proven to deter spiders, keep them away. Okay, and of course, like I've been mentioning throughout here, keep your house clean. Go around and dust more often, vacuum more often. That way, if you have a clean house, it means you're disturbing the habitat, and the spiders don't like that. So what are they going to do? They're going to avoid your house. They're going to avoid those areas that you're cleaning more often. Now, my recommendation is just kind of combine some of these methods. Keep the house clean, spray the vinegar and water solution, or put some essential oils around. Maybe in some rooms, put your plants like peppermint or lemon balm. Do a combination of these things and do them on a regular basis. Well, we're just about out of time. I hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast and learned a lot about house spiders and cobwebs. And if you want to support the podcast, I can always use support. The main thing you can do, share it. Yeah, share with others. Get more people interested in learning about nature. And if you enjoyed it enough to support the podcast, you can always click on the links in the show notes, which will take you to my Ko-Fi page. Part of all donations does go to help plant trees around the world. I always make a donation to organizations that plant trees, but it also helps to buy new equipment and pay for the website. And it also helps to pay for all the necessary expenses. You can support the podcast through Ko-Fi, like I said, or visit my merch store and get some great merchandise. And you can also, this time of year, buy gifts. Use the merch store to find some great gifts for your loved ones or anyone that you are having trouble finding something for. You can also get something for those nature lovers out there who love to wander through nature like me. I have some great nature journals. So visit the Nature Wanderer website and learn more about the podcast, learn more about nature, and above all, keep exploring the nature around you. Have a great day, everyone. Did you know that plastic is made with oil, a fossil fuel that pollutes the environment? And did you know that only about 15% of all plastic is recycled into new products? Wouldn't it be awesome if we could live our lives without plastic so that we could stop harming the planet? Well, there's a company that wants to help you do just that. Life Without Plastic sells products that will reduce or eliminate your dependence on plastic. They have a large selection from toothbrushes to food storage containers to drinking straws, all plastic free. And it's reasonably priced. So what are you waiting for? Check out all these great plastic-free products and help save the planet. Just click on the link in the show notes to find out more and to start your journey to being plastic-free.